Hello my people, hi guys, welcome back and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are well and I hope you guys are staying safe. It's been about 5 or 6 weeks since I last released a video, but I'm here again with another tutorial showing you guys how to make a double circle skirt or a double flare skirt, which is basically a 720-degree skirt. If you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell and the like button so that you can give this video a thumbs up. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I love you guys.
Today we're going to be learning how to make a 720-degree circle skirt, which is basically a flare skirt but really full. And I say really full because a standard flare skirt is actually 360 degrees, but we're going to be taking that a notch higher and making a 720-degree skirt. And to do that, you need to cut out two 360-degree circle skirt. Now, before we get into how we sew it and how to cut it, I'm going to walk you through the measurement because it's a very important aspect. However, if you have absolutely no background or no understandings in circles, go ahead and watch the video that I made earlier. I'm going to put it in the pin link above, or in the icons above rather, and in the pin link below. So go ahead and check it out. It's a video called Understanding Circles and Flares, and I kind of give you a detailed understanding, you know, the calculations, the breakdowns on how to cut circles. But if you've watched that and you need a little bit of a refresher, I'm going to give you a refresher in this video as well. So let's start. The first thing I've got here is 720-degree skirt, which is what we're making. The next thing I've got here is the waist measurement that we're using, which is 32 degrees, 32 inches, my bad. That represents inches. And then the zip allowance we want for this skirt is 2 inches. So one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. The total of this makes 34 inches. So you want to keep that in mind. Bear that in mind that what we're working with today, or the total circumference that we're working with, is 34 inches. Now remember that I said a 720-degree skirt is made up of two 360 degrees. It's simple maths. 360 plus 360 gives you 720. So obviously I'm going to put that aside, and we've got this. So 360 degrees plus 360 degrees gives us 720 degrees, which is what we're making. And one 360 will be used for the front of the skirt. The other 360 will be used for the back of the skirt. Now, how do we do this equally? The best thing to do is to go back to what we had as our waist measurement, or the waist circumference including allowance, which is 34 inches, right? So you want to take the total waist circumference including allowance as 34 inches, and you want to divide that by 2. When you divide that by 2, you will get 17. So we're going to have 17 inches as the circumference for the front circle, and then 17 inches as the circumference for the back circle. So essentially we're cutting two different circles, right? We split the measurement in half. Make sure you add your allowance, right? And then we're going to cut two circles and then join them together. By the time we add this circle and this circle together, we're back with our original 34 inches, right? And then we're going to apply the formula. Now, just to make sure that you're following me, let's assume that your waist is 20 inches. You want to use an allowance of 1.5 inch on the left and 1.5 inch on the right, right? So your waist is 20 inches and you want an allowance. I'm just going to show you guys. If your waist is 20 inches and you want an allowance of 1.5 inches on the left and 1.5 inches on the right, you are literally with 23 inches. This is going to be your total circumference if you are making a 720-degree skirt. Now remember that to make a 720-degree skirt, the most effective way is to make two 360s. So you're going to do this 23 divided by 2. You have 11.5 for one of your 360-degree skirt and 11.5 for the other. So when you cut the first circle that is 11.5 circumference, you add this to this one, and then you have a 720 degrees skirt. I hope I have not confused you. So let's backtrack again, just because I would like to make sure that you guys understand. We're making a 720-degree skirt and my waist is 32 inches. You have to add an allowance, and I've chosen to use an allowance of 1 inch on each side. So 1 inch on the left and 1 inch on the right makes 2 inches in total. That gives me my total circumference of 34 inches. Okay, now to make the skirt, I need to cut out 2 pieces of 360-degree circles. So I'm going to be using one 360-degree circle piece for the front and the second 360-degree circle piece for the back. guys. I don't know why that is such a tongue twister. Okay, so one for the front, one for the back. Now to do this, I have to split my original measurement, which is 34 inches, into two. 34 inches divided by 2, I've got 17 inches and 17 inches. So the circumference for the front circle will be 17 inches. The circumference for the back circle is 17 inches. Okay, now that is understood, it's time to cut out a circle. To cut out a circle, you need to know the radius, right? And the radius, formula to know the radius for a full circle is circumference divided by 2 pi. Circumference divided by 2 pi. And we've established that the circumference is 17 inches and 2 pi, you know, if you know, pi is 3.14, but it's something you can always Google. So 2 pi is 6.28. 17 divided by 6.28 gives me 2.7 inches approximately. So that is my radius, 2.7 inches. And this is what I'm going to be working with. Now, if it helps you, go ahead and do your calculation, put it on a piece of paper and put it close to you. Mine is going to be right next to me while I'm working so that I have access to it. So we're going to go ahead and cut our skirt and make our skirt real quick.
Alright guys, now that you have your waist measurement, the second most important measurement you need is the measurement for your skirt length. You can decide to make your skirt a knee length skirt, you can make it a midi skirt or a maxi skirt. Whatever length you choose is absolutely up to you. Just make sure you choose your length. For me, I'm going to be working with a length of 30 inches, making my skirt more of a midi skirt, including all sewing allowances and hemming allowances. So the length I'm going for is 30 inches. The next thing you want to do is you want to fold your fabric into 4 as shown. After folding your fabric, you should have one edge like this that is short, and that is the maximum length that you can get. And then you have another length that is longer, and that's because I'm working with Ankara, and the maximum length on Ankara is 45 inches. If you were using another fabric that has a longer length, you'll probably be fine. But with this fabric, I'm definitely going to be joining because I can't get the full length I need at once. So after you've established that, the next thing to do is to mark your radius starting at the apex. Now you want to make sure that you're marking at the angles that have the folded edges. So basically you're not having any loose edges where you're marking. So the radius that I marked was 2.7 inches. Remember the calculation that we did? That's how you find the radius. So go ahead and mark the radius all around starting from the apex. After marking the radius, you want to go ahead and draw a curve just like what I have done, and then you want to go ahead and cut it out. You can cut it out right away, which is what I'm doing, or you can cut it out later, but I cut it out right away. After cutting out the arc formed by marking the radius, the next thing to do is to mark out your desired length. So again, if you're working with a short skirt, or you're working with a maxi skirt, or you're working with a midi skirt, it doesn't matter. Starting from the arc, go ahead and mark out your desired length. Like I said, my desired length is 30 inches. So starting from the arc, I'm marking out 30 inches as you can see, and I'm going to take my measuring tape all around the arc till I mark out 30 inches all around the fabric. Now remember that the fabric has been folded into 4 so that we can get a 360-degree circle, and like I said, I will need to add. So as you can see, as my fabric gets towards the other side, it is not enough, and that's what it's showing you here, meaning that I will need to add a little bit of fabric to get the rest of it, but that's fine. For now, go ahead and cut out what you have, and if yours is enough, you know, if you're making like a short skirt, it will probably be enough, then that's okay. However, mine is not enough, so I go ahead and cut out what I have, and then I will add later. At this point, we already have one circle, so I'm just straightening out the edges because they're not equal. I'm just straightening out the loose edges because they're not equal. Again, it's important that when you're folding, you do not cut on these loose edges. You cut on the sides that are folded. That's very important. So this is one circle. We're going to go ahead and repeat this entire process for the second circle. At this point, I'm just checking to see if what I cut off is enough to give me the desired length, but it is not enough because I went ahead to check it with a measuring tape and I just found that it's still short. So I'm just going to be taking another piece of fabric later, but I'll do that later on. Now it's time to cut out the second circle. So go ahead and fold your fabric into 4, which is what I have done. And again, you want to make sure that the folded edges, which is what I've just smoothed out with the scissors, you want to make sure that it's the 2 folded edges you start your arc from. So I have one on the other one facing the wall, and the other folded edge was where I smoothened out with the scissors. It's very important that you're cutting in the right point. So again, I just flipped it so that it's facing you guys and you guys can see it a lot more clear. So you want to make sure that you're cutting at that particular apex, not the other apex, not any other apex, but that particular one. So using the first one as a template, I go ahead and place the first piece on the second one and I pin it in place, making sure that all the edges are smooth. After pinning in place, you go ahead and cut it out using the first one as a template. At this point, you have two circles already, so two 360-degree circle. Again, you remember that because the length I want is long, I'm going to have to join a little bit to my circle. However, if you're going for a short skirt, you probably don't need to join anything to your circle. Now that the circles have been cut, the next thing to do is to join the little bits missing on the flare or the circle. To do that, you want to go ahead and position your circle in such a way that it is in view of what you need. So as you can see, the part that I need to join to is in view of the camera. Then you want to check out how long or how much of fabric you require to join. So I'm going ahead to check the measurement, making sure that I account for 1/2 inch sewing allowance to join the flare to the fabric. After doing that, you cut out the fabric that you require. After measuring what I needed, I found that I only needed 12 inches of fabric. The next thing you want to do is you want to check the length of your fabric, that it suffices or it covers for what you need, and I have done that. And the next thing you want to do is you want to fold it over so that you have 4 layers in total. So as you can see, your full flare, when you fold it, has 4 layers. So you want to make sure that whatever you're joining as well has 4 layers. I'm going to cut out 2 pieces of that because we have 2 full flares. So as you can see, I went ahead to fold my fabric into 4, and I did it for the second piece as well, and I'm cutting out what I need. As you can see, it's very important that the folded edge of the fabric you're joining matches the folded edge of the fabric or the flare that you've cut earlier, which is what I was checking. Now that we've cut out the required fabric, the next thing to do is to separate the 2 circles. For the first circle, we're going to go ahead and join the piece that we cut up to it. To do that, you want to make sure that you start at the folded edge and both folded edges align. After both folded edges are aligned, you want to go ahead and pin them together on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. This is the allowance that we'll be using to join them anyway. So you want to make sure that you're pinning them on each other on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. This is so that you can get an accurate measurement when you're done cutting. Now, after pinning, you want to go ahead and measure as you would normally. So starting from the edge, you want to measure 30 inches, and then you want to measure all the way, moving your measuring tape starting from the arc. After doing that, you'll find that it flows seamlessly with the previous cuts, and this shows that you are right. So you want to go ahead and finish cutting out your circle, and now the circle for this one is complete. We're going to repeat this for the second circle as well. So just in case you missed it the first time, we're going to repeat this again. You want to make sure that the folded edge of the fabric you're joining aligns with the folded edge of the flare that you already have. So you want to go ahead and place them together, but before doing that, you want to make sure that it's equal as well at the point you're joining. So mine wasn't really equal, so I just went ahead to straighten it out, making sure that I have it equal. After straightening out my folded fabric, I go ahead and align it to the fold. Again, you should have 4 layers of the circle and then 4 layers of the fabric you're joining. Go ahead and pin it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance to each other. So you're pinning the flare to your fabric you're joining on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. This is because, again, we're going to be joining, so we need some allowance to join. After doing that, you want to go ahead and measure out the length that you require, starting from the arc. Ideally, it should flow back to the part that you've cut previously. At this point, both circles have been cut, and the next thing you want to do is you want to mark out all the wrong sides of the fabric. So again, remember that there are 4 layers, so you want to mark out all the wrong sides of each one. Now the next thing to do is to join the flare to the remaining part of the fabric that we've cut to match it. And to do that, the easiest way is first unpin and then separate it. Now starting from the folded edge, you want to go ahead and create a notch, which is what I'm doing. After creating the notch, you want to open it up so that you have the right side of the circle facing the right side of the joining fabric. Pin the notch to each other and then go ahead and pin starting from the center notch all the way to the ends. You want to repeat this on the other side as well. In case you missed that, I'm going to do it again. So starting from the edge, you want to make sure that you create a notch on both edges, and then you want to go ahead and open them up so that the right sides are facing each other. You want to match the notch to each other and then hold it in place with a pin. Starting from that point where you have the pin, you want to work your way pinning to each edge. So you're pinning to the left side and you're pinning to the right side. At the end of the day, the right sides must be facing each other. That's very important. And you're starting from the folded edges. Now that that is done, you want to go ahead and sew on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. You want to sew for both circles, so go ahead and repeat this for the other circle as well. You want to take your time, making sure that you're sewing on 1/2 inch sewing allowance as well. To get the best result after sewing, go ahead and open the seams. To open the seam, you basically just want to iron on the wrong side and then spread out the sewing that you've just done. After doing that, you should get it looking like this and you should be looking really crisp. At this point, your skirt is nearly finished. Starting with the first circle, go ahead and fold your circle neatly and make sure that it is flat. So basically your circle should just be, folded into 2, and then making sure that it is flat. And then you want to go ahead and split it. So essentially you're just creating one opening on your circle to have it just full, right? You want to mark the wrong side, and then you want to repeat this for the second piece as well. So again, you want to take the circle, fold it into two, which is what I'm doing, and then you want to take one of those sides, make sure it is flat on the table. If you need to iron it, go ahead and iron it, and then you want to split it into two. This is so that we can attach the front piece to the back piece. Again, remember that we are doing a 720-degree circle skirt. Alright guys, unfortunately at this point I lost some footage, so I'm just going to explain what I did. So now that we've slit both pieces, the next thing you want to do is you want to place the right side of both pieces facing each other, and then we're going to sew the sides. So one of them, we're going to sew it all the way from the top to the bottom on 1 inch, and obviously you want to make sure that your measurement is correct as well. And then the other one, we're going to sew it starting from 9 inches, meaning that you have to leave a place for the zip. So from the waist to 9 inches, you mark that, and then you leave that will be for your zipper. And then from 9 inches all the way to the hem, you sew it all the way down on 1 inch sewing allowance. Go ahead and install the zipper, and if you don't know how to do that, I have another video showing you how to install zippers. Also, if you want me to show you how to install invisible zipper, let me know and I'll make another video for that. The next thing to do is to install the band, or cut out the band rather. And to cut out the band, you want to go ahead and get out your waist measurement, in this case 32 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance, which is 34 inches again, by the desired band width. So again, my desired band width is about 1 inch, so about 1.5 inches really. So I go ahead and cut out 4 inches by 17 on fold. So if it's opened up, it's going to be 4 inches by 34. After cutting out the band, this is what it looks like. To sew the band, you want to go ahead and fold the band so that the right sides are facing each other, and then you want to sew each end on 1/2 inch sewing allowance. To install the band, go ahead and do that from the wrong side. So as you can see, you want to place your band so that it aligns equally with the zipper, and pin it in from the wrong side. It's a bit tricky, but it's something that you probably just have to observe and then just repeat after me. So after you do that, you want to pin it all the way to the end. Now in this case, because it's a flare, it has the tendency to kind of, stretch out because it was cut on the bias grain. You might find out that your band is slightly like your skirt waist is slightly bigger than your band, but that's fine. All you have to do is ease it in, which is basically a technique of, you don't have pleats, but sewing in a bigger circumference onto a smaller piece of band. You're just going to be like gently easing it in without pleats forming. So that's what I did. I went ahead to ease it in, and all I did was just basically pin it into place the way I wanted it to look like. And as you can see, I adjusted the pins a couple of times so that I had it sewn in without any pleats. After successfully pinning the band onto the skirt circumference or the skirt waist, the next thing to do is to go ahead and sew it in place. You'll be sewing it on 1/2 inch sewing allowance, just as shown. After sewing it, you'll notice that you have your band sticking out a bit. That's fine. On one end, your band should stick out for about 1 inch, and on the other end, it should start at the exact same point where your zipper aligns. This is so that we can add the skirt hook later on. So now that that is done, the next thing you want to do is you want to cover up the band by top stitching. To cover up the band, you want to fold the band in by 1/2 inch, and then you want to sew it on the wrong side, on the right side, just like I'm doing right now. So you basically fold your band in by 1/2 inch and then sew it close to the edge on the right side of the skirt. After sewing the band all the way to the end, go ahead and lock your stitches, and at this point the skirt is finished. This is the end of the tutorial, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was worth your while. This is what the skirt looks like when I'm wearing it. Obviously I'm not like fully dressed, but here's what it looks like. It's just a very nice full skirt, and if you wanted yours to look fuller, you can always add like some tulle at the bottom and add some lining, and this will give it the volume that you want. However, I do not like mine looking, you know, extra voluminous, so I didn't want to add anything to the bottom. This is where I've done my invisible zip, and as you can see, I did a pretty good job, if I can say so myself. Again, if you want a tutorial of the invisible zip, let me know in the comment section below and I'll be happy to make you guys a tutorial. Alright guys, we've come to the very end of this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so that the YouTube algorithm will know that you enjoyed it and recommend it to other viewers. Thank you so much guys for watching to the end. I love you guys, and don't forget to keep watching and subscribing and sharing my video. Alright guys, see you next week. Bye.